We are studying Unit 1 Diversity in the Living World in that Chapter 3 Plant Kingdom. And in my last video, we have studied about the higher algae. We have seen what are the higher algae, how the reproduction in the higher algae takes place, and then we also studied about the three types of higher algae, that is Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. We have seen how they are having the common names, that is green algae, brown algae and red algae, due to the color which they are getting from different pigments. So that was all about the higher algae. Now let us move forward to the next part in the plant kingdom, that is the bryophytes. What are bryophytes? Let me give one simpler example. In the rainy season, if you are seeing on the walls or the rocks, you see that a green layer of grass-like structures are coming out. These dry away during the summer season, but mostly during the rainy season, again they are coming back on the walls and stones or rocks. They are exactly like the grass, but they are not growing tall. Instead, they are forming a mat-like structure over the walls. Those are nothing but a type of bryophytes. Bryophytes are incompletely developed plants, you can say. They are a higher form of the plant kingdom. They are more developed than the algae, but they are not complete plants because the vascular tissues are absent, which are helping in the conduction of water or food. They are absent. So the transfer of the food is taking place by cell to cell diffusion in the bryophytes. So let us study some of the characteristic features of these organisms known as the bryophytes. Here you can see in the diagrams that are there, the bryophytes covering the walls or the compounds, on the tree trunks, on the stones. This grass-like mat structure is going to be nothing but your bryophytes. These bryophytes are commonly called as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. What are amphibians? You will be studying this in the next lesson, that is animal kingdom. But I will give an example of the amphibian. Example of the amphibian is going to be your frog. So if you are observing a frog, the frog is going to be able to survive on the land. They are staying on the land, but if they want to give the egg, for the egg laying, they are going in the water. They have to lay the egg in water, and these eggs are first developing into small fish-like structures known as tadpoles in water, and then they are again coming on land. So that are the frogs, which are the amphibians. So these bryophytes in the plant kingdom, these frogs are belonging to the animal kingdom. Here in the plant kingdom, these bryophytes are called as the amphibians of the plant kingdom because here, like that of the frog, they are living in soil, that is, they can live in soil, but they need water for sexual reproduction. And hence, they are usually occurring or they are usually found in damp means moist or watery place, humid means a warm, and shaded localities. Wherever there is shade present, in shady localities, we are able to find this bryophytes. Coming to the body structure of the bryophytes, the body is more differentiated than that of the algae. In the algae, we are seeing they are unicellular and multicellular, but these bryophytes are most of them looking like a plant. So it is thallus-like and prostrate or erect and attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. They can be thallus-like. Now what do you mean by thallus-like? Here you can see these are going to be thallus-like. They are not coming straight, but instead they are spreading. So they can be thallus-like, or they can be prostrate or erect like you are seeing in this diagram. So they are very small, they are not so big as they are visible in the diagram, they are very small. Here the diagram that is going to be there is going to be one of that which is growing over here. They are very minute or small. Now, these bryophytes are attached to the rocks or the substrate that is going to be, it can be anything to which it is attached. It can be the wall or the rooftop or the rocks. It is attached to something. So that attachment is going to be because of the rhizoids. These rhizoids are going to be unicellular or multicellular root-like structures which are coming below and helping it to attach to the substrate. They lack true root, stem or leaves. They are not having the true root, stem and leaves like the plants, but they are possessing the root-like, leaf-like or stem-like structures. They are not well developed like that of the plant body. The tissues are not formed. Cell only is there. They are multicellular, cell-cell diffusion. But yet they are having the plant-like structures. In some cases, the main plant body is going to be haploid. Haploid means containing only one set of chromosomes. It produces gametes and hence it is called as the gametophyte. So here this part is going to be called as the gametophyte and this is the sporophyte. Gametophyte means it is producing the gametes, that is male and the female gametes which can reproduce. Now in the case of the higher plants, the seeds or the flower is the gametophyte which can give rise to another plant. Whereas the whole plant body is the sporophyte, the growth phase. So here in this part the male and the female gametes are formed and this is going to be the sporophyte which is diploid, which is the growth phase of the plant. Here we can see that the sex organs in bryophytes are going to be multicellular. The male sex organ known as the antheridium produces biflagellate anthrozooids. Biflagellates means having two flagella. So they are going to be producing biflagellate anthrozooids. The female sex organ is a archegonium. It is going to be somewhat flask shaped and it is producing a single egg. So that is going to be the sex organs in bryophytes which are going to be multicellular. Female is going to be archegonium. It produces the egg and male is antheridium. It is producing the anthrozooids. These anthrozooids are going to be released in water which meet the archegonium. An anthrozooid fuses with egg to form the zygote. Now suppose here you are going to be having the female, this is going to be the archegonium, this is going to be a male, it is going to be the antheridium which is producing the anthrozooids. This all is taking place in the water. The antheridium that is there, it is producing the male gametes. It is going to be producing the male gametes. Now these male gametes that are going to be there are going to be released in the water and they are coming and meeting with the archegonium. Now in the archegonium, they are meeting with the egg and they are forming the zygote. Now these zygotes that are there, these zygotes do not undergo meiosis immediately and they produce a multicellular body called as the sporophyte. Sporophyte is not a free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and derives nourishment from it. Some cells of the sporophyte undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores. These spores germinate to form gametophyte. So what is happening over here is, it is going to be a little bit complex type of reproduction, you can say. What is happening? First, male and the female are going to be giving the male and the female gametes. So these male and the female gametes are forming the zygote. But when it is forming the zygote, instead of producing a new plant or new seeds, what is happening? A sporophyte is produced. Now what is going to be a sporophyte? Here you can see the sporophyte. This is the sporophyte. So when the male and the females are going to be released, they are forming a zygote, and this zygote is going to be giving rise to a sporophyte. This sporophyte after maturation is giving rise to the haploids that are going to be seeds which are going to be producing the gametophyte. So gametophyte producing the spores, male and the female gametes, they produce the sporophyte. These sporophytes are producing haploids which produce the gametophyte. So this cycle goes on continuing. So that is going to be how the reproduction in the case of bryophytes is going to be taking place. Coming to the importance of bryophytes or the economic importance of bryophytes, we can see that some mosses, it is a type of bryophyte, mosses are a type of bryophyte, provide food for the herbaceous mammals and birds, etc. Herbaceous mammals are nothing but your cows, goats are known as the herbaceous mammals. Then some species of the Sapganum, so that is going to be also a moss, you can see here. Some species of Sapganum are going to be used as the Sapganum peat, that is they are producing the peat. It is used as a fuel. It has water holding capacity, so that is used as a packaging material for transshipment of the material. So the Sapganum is going to be making, or they are going to be making some powder like thing known as the peat. This is not only helping as a fuel, means in the burning, they are using this for burning, for the heating of the cooking of the food or heating the water. They are using it as a fuel, and also it is also used as a water holding packaging material whenever there is shipment of the delicate materials taking place, so that there should be no harm to that material. This is going to be having the water holding capacity, so they are using this for the shipment of the materials. That is mainly for the shipment of the living materials, we are going to be using this Sapgasum peat because it will keep it fresh. Then we can see they are also ecologically important because they are playing a role in plant succession. That is nothing but, suppose you are going to be having a bare rock where nothing is growing. First on this bare rock, the plant which has the ability to grow is the bryophytes. These bryophytes, when they grow, they are forming a dense mat. They start breaking the rocks, they start forming the soil in the rocks, and when they start to decompose these rocks and making the soil, at that times the higher plants can easily grow on that bare rock. So in this manner they are also important. Then these mosses are going to be forming a dense mat over the soil, and hence they can also prevent soil erosion. What is soil erosion? Loss of the soil from the top layer of the ground. That is, the soil is going to be very important for the cultivation of the crops. It is the fertile layer of the land. So if we are losing that, then the plants, it is difficult for the plants to grow. So these mosses are going to be helping to prevent this type of soil erosion. Coming to the types of bryophytes, we can see there are mainly two types of bryophytes which are going to be present: liverworts and mosses. So let us study about these two types of bryophytes, that is the liverworts and mosses. Coming to the first one, that is going to be your liverworts. So liverworts, they grow usually in the moist, shady habitats such as the banks of stream, marshy grounds, damp soil, bark of trees and deep woods. They are growing in the moist and shady habitats. Then their plant body is thyloid. Example is Marchantia. This is going to be an example of a thyloid-like body. This is going to be a Marchantia. Here you can see they are not coming erect. Instead, they are in a spreaded form, in a leaf-like form, thick leaf-like form they are going to be. So that is known as the thyloid body. So liverworts are going to be usually thyloid. And this thallus is dorsiventrally and closely oppressed to the substrate. So they are going to be closely oppressed or pressed. They are found in close contact with the substrate where they are attached. Some of the leafy members that are there have tiny leaf-like appendages in two rows on the stem-like structures. Then coming to the types of reproduction in the case of the liverworts. Liverworts are going to be reproducing by three methods. In that, let us see first one, that is the asexual reproduction. The asexual reproduction takes place by fragmentation of thalli or by the formation of gemmae. Gemmae are going to be nothing but they are green multicellular asexual buds that develop in small receptacles called gemma cups on the thalli. So here you can see these are going to be the gemma cups in which the gemmae are going to be developing. Now these gemmae that are there, they are detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individuals. So they are something like the seeds, you can say. So they are found in the gemma cup, they are attached to the thallus body, and after maturation they are getting detached or separated from their parent and they are going and growing into a new individual. Coming to the second type of reproduction, that is the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in the liverworts, we will see how it is taking place. So male and the female sex organs are produced on the same thalli or different thalli. These sporophyte, then we can see that the sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta and the capsule. After meiosis, spores are produced within the capsule and these spores germinate to form free living gametophyte. This is what we already studied earlier in the reproduction in the bryophytes. That is, the male and the female organs that are there are going to be present on the same thalli or on the different thalli. Suppose if there is going to be female here and the male is going to be there. Then from this male and the female, we can see that the gametes are going to be produced. These gametes are developing into a sporophyte. These sporophytes are going to be producing the spores which are going to be then developing into a new individual, that is a new gametophyte. Then when this type of reproduction is going to be taking place, we can see that it is going to be very common into the case of the bryophytes. Coming to the second type of bryophytes, the second type of bryophytes is the mosses. So the mosses, we can see the predominant stage of the life cycle of a moss is the gametophyte. It consists of two stages. The first stage is protonema stage and the second stage is the leafy stage. Let us study about each stage in detail. So the protonema stage, when we are talking, it develops directly from spore. It is creeping, green, branched and frequently filamentous stage. This is going to be the protonema stage, you can see here. It is developing directly from the spores that is going to be produced by this one. So they are going to be branched and frequently filamentous. Then coming to the leafy stage, it develops from the secondary protonema as lateral bud. They consist of an upright, slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soil through multicellular and branched rhizoids. This stage bears the sex organs. So in this stage, we can see it is going to be having the sex organs, that is in the leafy stage. So here you can see in this diagram, this is going to be the leafy stage. It is developing from the secondary protonema only. Now in this you can observe that it is going to be having a upright, cylindrical, slender axis which is going to be having somewhat hair-like structures which are going to be spirally attached to it, and they are going to be having multicellular branched structures known as rhizoids which are helping them to attach to the ground. Coming to the reproduction, here the vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation and budding. Then the sexual reproduction, again the same thing, antheridae are there, archegonia are there, are produced at the shoot tips. After fertilization, the zygote develops. To this zygote, the foot seta and the capsule is produced, that is the sporophyte. The sporophyte here we can see is going to be more developed than that of the liverworts. The capsule contains spores and the spores are formed after meiosis. Mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. Now when we are talking about this liverworts, mosses, bryophytes, all this will be a little bit difficult for you to understand. I will send you very short points in the notes which will be easy to remember. You write down those notes and read it 2 to 3 times. You will understand it better. Here are some examples of the mosses. So the examples of the mosses are the Funaria, Subgassum and Polytrichum. And the Marchantia was the example of the liverworts. So this is going to be about the bryophytes, that is the amphibians of the plant kingdom. So in my next video, we will be studying about the pteridiophytes, which are the first terrestrial plants. Until here, we have in the higher algae, we saw they are living in the water. Now these bryophytes were found in the land and water. Now in the next video, we will start with the land plants, that is going to be pteridophytes.